turn red. Okay. Siyata Dishmaya, Hashem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach. Thank you for coming for our continuation of Olam Hamidot. So again, it seems like this is not the 8th, this is the 9th installment of the Sefer of Olam Hamidot. The last thing that we mentioned was that a person there are some times that a person should look for kavod, when it's for a mitzvah, or when it's for encouraging other people, right? And if a person runs away from kavod, then it won't encourage other people to do it. So, this type of kavod is okay, because mitoch shelo lishma ba lishma, a person does it not for the sake of the mitzvah itself, he's doing it a little bit for kavod. Hopefully it'll build up, that it will lead up to doing the mitzvah properly without an ulterior motive. Now, here Rabbi Kestem goes on and says, we have to see what is the root of this desire for kavod. Why are we so adamant? How come we love to get kavod? What is it? He says the root of this is that a person needs to feel important. He needs to feel that he has a self-worth, self-value, right? Most of the time, this person looks outside and sees how much people respect him, right? So he's dependent on them giving honor and respect to him. He says the truth is, it's a huge mistake to think that way, right? That to think that our importance is dependent on other people's vote and opinion. Okay? Now, he says, what's the problem? He says, the person that falls in this pitfall, there's many dangers lurking in this behavior. Number one, if people don't end up giving him as much kavod as he expects, right? What's going to happen to the person? He's going to feel, you know what, I'm not that important. Right? They're not respecting me. People aren't giving me that respect that I thought I should be getting. Even if in truth, this person is a great person. He's osek b'Torah, osek b'mitzvot, but his expectation is such that, his level of honor is dependent on other people's vote and opinion. Then when he doesn't get it, he's going to feel shallow. He's not going to feel as good about himself. And slowly this might bring him to depression and despair. And all these things will hinder his growth. He won't be able to do his avodat Hashem. He won't be able to get himself closer to Hashem because he doesn't have the motivation anymore. Because he feels that, where is that kavod? Where is that respect? On the other hand, if he is in a situation that people are giving you kavod, right, more, he's even more of a danger. Why? Because he says, hey, come on, it's not for nothing. All these people are giving me kavod. Look at them, they're getting up for me. I must be all that. And when he feels that he's all that, then what's going to happen to him? He figures, I'm perfect. He's not going to look at his lacking, at his deficiencies, where he's not so good. He's not going to look at that anymore because he feels, look, I must be good. Those are just my imagination. I'm perfect. Look at this. Everybody's respecting me. So he says on both ends of the spectrum, the gauge should not be at all how much people respect. They don't know what they're talking about. Don't look at them, right? He says, imagine, a boy learns in yeshiva, and Baruch Hashem, he did very well. He grew and grew, and his rebbeim tested him, and they said, you know what, you are ready to be a rabbi in this big city. Oh, Chazak Baruch, he goes, and he becomes the Rav. The people in the city, they're not your biggest Bnei Torah. They don't know that much. He gets up there on the podium and he gives a fiery speech. They all love it and they all get up for him. They all respect him. And they come to him and they ask him questions. Rabbi, how long do we have to wait after we eat meat? Like, simple questions that any 2-year-old, any 10-year-old knows. And that's their level. Like, these are the questions that are thrown at him. What's going to happen to him over time? He gets all that respect and all that attention. He says, you know what? I'm one of the bigger people in this town. Look how much respect I'm getting. And he's not going to learn as much. He's going to go waste his time because he figures, I know a lot more Torah than anybody else around here. He won't look at his lackings. And he says this is one of the most scariest things, right? The person that is in this situation, on this, Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says, in the first parak, it says, Sena et harabanut, you should hate being in that leadership position, because in these situations it'll just bring him down as opposed to elevate him. He says, and that's the reason why it says again in Pirkei Avot, the fourth parak, it says, Heve zanav le'arayot ve'al te'il rosh le'shualim. You should be a tail for lions and don't be a head to the fox. Why is that? Because when you're a head to the fox, then you could fall in that pitfall that we mentioned. Everybody is respecting him. He's the head of the gangsters, right? And he'll feel so respected and everything, he won't budge. But when he's a tail of arayot, he's a tail of the lions, then that fake honor and respect is not going to blind him, right? He will realize, he will recognize that he needs to grow more, he needs to make himself a better person, he needs to work on himself more, because after all said and done, he's just a tail. Now, a person has to check himself to see what his goals are. If his goals are that he wants to get closer and closer to Hashem, to grow, right? So the work is between him and Hashem. Or is it his goal that he wants other people to recognize and respect him? Is that his goal? How do you check? How does a person check and see if he's dependent on other people's kavod or not? Right? How does a person check for that? Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of reshaim that they get great respect. And there's a lot of great tzaddikim that no one even knows who they are. No one even knows, their worth. Even though, yes, there are tzaddikim that everybody knows their worth. Everybody knows how great they are. But still, there's many that don't. Right? What's the reason? The reason is that that's not what he's here for. That's not what this person is here for. One person is his mission here is that he should be a tzaddik and he should get the kavod. The other person's mission is that he should be a tzaddik and not get the kavod. But that's not how a person is measured. After 120 years, Hashem is not going to judge a person and let's see how much kavod did people give you, right? It's only how he served Hashem with all the abilities that were given to him. This is how a person is going to be judged. It is very important that a person should understand his worth, his value, who he is, right? But this work needs to be done from within. It shouldn't come from outside, right? Because when it's coming from outside, then again, it's not a situation that a person inherently is deserving of respect, right? It's not a person that he himself feels that he's really worth being respectful. It's only dependent on other people's opinion, how much other people give him respect. A person who is chasing after kavod, he wants other people to give him respect, that just shows how much this person doesn't respect himself. This person has an empty feeling, and he needs to fill that emptiness with other people giving him respect. That's why he demands respect from other people. Because if he actually understood what he is worth, if he actually understood, who he is, then he wouldn't need other people's approval, right? And that's what Chachamim teach us. Again, we go back to Pirkei Avot, the beginning of the parak, the fourth parak. Ezehu mechubad, who is a respected person? Hamechabed et haberiyot, one who gives kavod to other people. Why? Because a person that's inherently respected, that means from within he has respect for himself, right? He has that, how should we say, self-confidence. Then he's not going to be hurt by giving kavod to anybody else. He wants to give kavod to other people. But a person who is lacking that, he's going to have a very hard time to give kavod to other people. Right? Example, young kids, when they read something really nice, nobody's going to feel bad in giving them praise. It's great because he doesn't feel that kid is a threat to him. So it won't mess up your self-confidence. He said, wow, you read so beautifully. But if the same thing happens to an adult friend, and he reads great, like, just an example. He's not going to praise the guy because, are you kidding me? He's better than me? I'm better. We're always skeptical in giving praise to other people. Why? Because this might shatter my bubble and thinking that I'm so great. Because when a person feels that lack inside, he's not going to give approval to someone else. Right? He would have a harder time to do that, to praise someone else. But if someone understands that he has that self-confidence, he understands who he is, he knows where he stands, he has no problem in giving praise to other people, right? No problem at all, because this is not going to take away anything from him. There are some people, this is in giving respect. In the same token, some people have a hard time listening to people praising other people. It's the same idea. Forget it, they won't give respect, they won't give praise, but even to hear, it pinches them a little bit. When they hear someone praising someone else, when they're hearing someone saying something good about someone else, it feels missing. You know why? Because they don't have that self-confidence, they don't have that self-respect for themselves. So they have a hard time accepting this. So if we have a hard time giving respect to other people, or to hear someone else's praise, and we work on ourselves, we work on our Yetzer Hara, right? And we try to say, oh, Baruch Hashem, that's so great. Yes, that's true. That person they really did a good job. This could help us gain that kavod inside ourselves, for ourselves. We need to have kavod for ourselves. That's the point. When we do this, when you give kavod to other people, when you show that you're praising someone else, to yourself, it's all for ourselves, then that'll awaken that midah inside of us. A person who is always chasing after kavod, right? He will always be missing that kavod atzmi, self-respect. He will be always missing that. Because deep down he understands that that kavod, right, is not a true gauge for what the person really is. And such a person, he won't be able to heal himself until he starts building himself from within to understand his own true worth, and that is the beginning of healing this person. When he truly understands who he is, his self-worth, that's when he will be able to heal himself, make himself better in that midah. Now, the point becomes, how do this is going to be a very hard avodah for a person to build kavod for himself and not fall in the trap of a person who is an arrogant person. So as we mentioned before, this avodah of kavod atzmi, self-respect, it has to come from inside, from within a person. That a person has to first of all understand that I have a lot of good qualities And I don't need other people's approval for that. Some people don't recognize that. When they don't realize that they have good attributes, right? They mistakenly think that, oh, I'm such an anav. I'm such a humble person. Look at this. I don't have anything good. I don't have any good midot. I don't have any good attributes. I don't have any good qualities. Wow, I'm an amazing anav. He says the truth is, these poor souls, it's really a lack of self-confidence. That's what it is. When a person actually understands who he really is, actually understands his self-worth, a lot of obstacles move away from his path. A true anav is a person that the things that he does it to serve Hashem. He doesn't do it to serve himself. That, oh, now I'm better than other people. That's a true anav. So again, a true anav is that all of his goal, all his ambition is to serve Hashem. His ambition is not to serve himself, that he should look better than other people, he should feel better than other people. And when a person reaches that goal, then he's able to see in other people how important and how good other people are. Because he's not looking for a competition. I'm better than him. I'm stronger than him. He's not looking for that competition. He's looking how to serve Hashem. And when he sees someone else serving Hashem, perfect, excellent. Our Chachamim teach us a method of understanding our own self-worth. This is in Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin. It's talking about witnesses that come to testify in Beit Din. And the Beit Din, one of the tactics that they use is they really give them fear of God. They really scare them. Hey, be very careful. You don't want to mess up someone else's life, because then you're going to be yourself in a much deeper pit. So they tell them like this: Kol echad ve'echad chayav lomar bishvili nivra ha'olam. Every person is obligated to say that the world was created for me. Mm-hmm. You heard this before? I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Everybody has to say that. And this is the most important thing that there is. So what are Chachamim teaching us? They're coming to teach us that every person has a mission which is designed just for that person in this world. And there is no one else ever that could take his place. That's what they mean. That the world was created for me, that means that mission that I have, and I have to accomplish that, and I have to take care of this is mine. No one else could do it. And that, there are people that they try to imitate other people. Right? Is that good? No. You're supposed to learn from other people. But to imitate them, you're taking their mission. It doesn't work. That person, they have their own mission, which they have to accomplish, which they have to perfect, and it's only theirs. No one else could take it. So you start imitating, copying someone else, that's not going to do it, because you have your own mission to do. Right? Or someone that's upset, that's sad, that's depressed, because he says, I'm not as strong, I'm not as, strong-willed, or I'm not as good as the other person. It has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't even make sense, because his goal in the world is that he should perfect himself in whatever field, whatever it is that person is doing, and my goal is totally different. Each one is a different world. Each person is a different world. The Gemara over there continues and says, Kol ha'ma'abed nefesh, nefesh achad mi'Yisrael. Whoever destroys one nefesh from Israel, it's as if he destroyed the whole world. Again, it's the same concept, because that world that that person was supposed to perfect, and that mission that that person was supposed to bring about, and you caused him to be gone, then that'll never ever take place. And it's as if this person destroyed the whole world, the whole universe.
I heard the witnesses are the one who gives punishment, right?
That depends. That if it's it all depends. But true, like if a witness gives a false testimony and because of him they kill this person, that's it. This totally and absolutely messes everything up. Every Jew has a mission that they have to fix. Letaken Olamo. What does that mean? Their world, that world that was given to him, that mission that was given to him, it's his job to fix. There's a famous story. Rav Itzel Peterburg. Heard of Rav Itzel Peterburg? He was, his name was Rav Yitzchak Blazer. And he was one of the top students, one of the major students of Rav Yisrael Salant. He goes to his Rebbe once, and he says, if I had the brain of the Yachad Kollel, if you ever read his Sefer, he was extremely sharp. His mind was surgically sharp. The Yachad Kollel, famous. He said, if I had the mind of the Yachad Kollel and the heart of the Baal Yesod Shoresh V'Avodah, it's a 2-volume book. He goes through many things, like, Avodat Hashem, the depth of it, how, a person has to put his heart and cry and then pray and get excited over mitzvot. It's a whole sefer. Yesod, the foundation and the root of the Avodah. And if I had your midot, he's talking to Rabbi Salanter, right? I would be a perfect person. What did Rabbi Salanter tell the Rabbi Tzaleh? He said, "B'moach shelcha," with your brain, your mind, your heart, and your midot. That's how you will become the perfect person. We're not here to copy others. Whatever tools you're given, that's what you work with. Chachamim were very precise in the language. What did they say? They said, chayav. A person is obligated to say that the world was created for me. Right? Because there's an obligation here. Everyone has an obligation to perfect that world. And if not, chas v'shalom, it's the opposite. That's why our responsibility is great. Right? And from this, we move to the understanding how important we are. For example, the President of the United States is one of the most important people in the world. Why is that? Because his actions could have huge effects in the world. Even a small action could leave a huge effect, whether for the good or otherwise. He says the same thing by us. Each one of us is a president, right? Not just on one country, on a whole world. And every action that we do, whether we like it or not, whether it's a big action or it's a small action, it could affect the world, the whole world, whether for good or for bad. Because with each mitzvah, we build worlds. With each mitzvah, we create malachim, good malachim. And the opposite is also true, right? So that was a quote from Pirkei Avot again, right? Whoever does a good act, he creates a praklit, kana praklit la'atzmo. He said, and just like a president is not allowed to forget his place in the world, right? And every second he has to be reminded of his actions, because each act that he performs, every decision that he makes, everything that he does, each little thing is important. The same exact thing is by us. Every step we take, we are the presidents of our own worlds. And we can't forget for 1 second how important we are and how important our actions are. Someone who always remembers how important he is and how important his actions are, he will never despair, right? And think, what's the difference? What's the difference if I do this, if I don't do this? Where does it go? What's the big deal? I I help this person, doesn't help this person, don't help this person, give tzedakah, not give tzedakah, do this mitzvah. Every little act counts. He says, by the way, unfortunately, that some youngsters they go off the path, right? They go off the derech. He said many cases. He knows he deals with a lot of these cases. Many of these cases, they were missing that self-respect. They were missing that self-worth, right? He says if a person understands how important he is, he'll behave differently, right? He will never fall in those traps, right? That the traps that belittle a person's honor and respect. It's a known metaphor, they say, about a prince, that all the kids were playing in the mud, and even though he knew, wow, it's so much fun, he would not belittle himself and go roll in the mud. The same thing, if a person understands how important he is, that he's like a prince, he's like a son of the king, child of a king, he won't want to behave like the others, right? But when a person is missing that, the person doesn't understand how much respect he really deserves, right? From within. When he doesn't feel that, it'll be very hard for that person to find that willpower, to be able to overcome the pleasures and the desires of the world. And so one of our major things to do is that we have to plant within ourselves, within our heart, right? How important each soul, how important each Jew is. So one of the worst enemies in this battle is despair. Despair means yi'ush. Yi'ush means giving up. That's one of the biggest enemies, right? Someone who commits, let's say, chas v'shalom, commits an avera, right? And he gives up. He goes into despair, right? He has to understand this is only the work of the Yetzer Hara. It's only Yetzer Hara that's causing this. It is not, has nothing to do with teshuvah. A person who despairs, a person who goes into yi'ush, this has nothing to do with teshuvah. And we have to know that despair is the bigger cause that causes a person to fall, to go down in his serving Hashem, and it will never help a person grow. That's for sure. He says, when a person falls into despair, it's not that he is sad, oh, I'm not serving Hashem. Because if that's really what it was, that would be the cause for his elevation, for him to get better. You know why he is falling into despair? Because he's sad. He thinks that he's so little. He thinks that he's not good enough. That's why he has fallen into giving up and despair, right? Being that he understands that a person's greatness is in his, it's not, everything physical was given to him. He's smart, Baruch Hashem, is given to him. He's good looking, that's given to him. He's powerful, is given to him. What a person gains in the spiritual realm, wisdom that he gains, all these things that he actually gains, and he works hard, that is what gives him importance. That is what gives him chashivut. And when he doesn't have that, he feels that, look, I'm not such an important person. And when he feels that he's not such an important person, then he falls into despair. Right? And really, it has nothing to do with Torah and mitzvot per se. Right? A person that falls into despair, he feels that he's not important. And that is why he has fallen into this trap. True teshuvah for this is the opposite. True teshuvah is when a person feels that he is important. And he awakens himself more and more a desire that, you know what, I want to meet my mission in this world. I want to accomplish my mission in this world. And he's sad. You know why he's sad? Because he's not able to do what Hashem wants him to do. He wasn't able to do what Hashem wants him to do. Right? And instead, what did he do? He committed sins. He did things that were empty, instead of doing right things, studying the Torah, doing mitzvot, doing the right things. And he should feel, the way of teshuvah is that he should feel that a person like me, that Hashem appointed me and gave me a whole world, I should do mitzvot and to bring light into the world. How did I waste my time and I didn't do what I was supposed to do? How did a prince or a princess behave like a common person and disgrace his own honor? That's why when a person does teshuvah about the past and tries to fix for the future, a person becomes filled with joy. Why? Because now he sees he's focused. He sees a mission. He sees what his mission actually is. He has a clear head, right? That brings joy. That brings happiness because he feels closer to Hashem. And that's the most important thing because you actually feel like the prince or the princess that you are. A person cries on Yom Kippur, Al-Khair Shachatanu, I did this and I did this and this. Deep down, he has to be happy that, oh, Baruch Hashem, I'm getting cleansed. I'm doing teshuvah and I'm getting cleansed from my sin. It's not a point that a person should despair and cry, oy, 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 I'm so terrible. No, you're not. You're great. You just have to fix it. That's all. You're great because you're given a mission by Hashem. You're important in the eyes of Hashem. But if a person despairs from Avodat Hashem and he feels that, you know what, my being in this world does not make any difference for anything, right? That is going to cause him to even chas v'shalom fall even lower, right? Because he feels that his actions are not important. And the truth is, this is an absolute lie. Because as long as Hashem placed that neshama within you, so everything that you do is important in the eyes of Hashem. Otherwise, that neshama won't be there. It just doesn't work. He says a person should never ever despair, should never ever give up, because all it does is just damages him. That's all, right? Even if he fell, even if he committed sins, even if he did something wrong, he has to remember Sheva Yipol Tzaddik Vekam. A tzaddik falls 7 times and he gets up. So he brings an explanation. He says Yipol. That means he has to fall. Falling is a condition for greatness. When a person falls and he gets up, this is how a person reaches greatness. And a person has to always remind himself that there is no room for despair. Right? And this is the part of his avodah, to remove the thoughts of despair and giving up, and to put in their stead the pasuk, Kaveh el Hashem, Chazak ve'yametz libecha ve'kaveh el Hashem. That means look for Hashem, hope for Hashem, and strengthen yourself, and be courageous, right? And look for Hashem again. It just continues on. He says that a person that always fights his Yetzer Hara, he will win. Like it says, Habal Taher, one who comes to purify himself, they will help him. Lo oto. But if a person who gives up, he falls. He has fallen. Like it says in the battle, Gemara Masechet Sotah, it says the beginning of failure in battle is when they start running away. Right? And a person should never think of himself as a rasha. Say, oh, forget it. What am I? I'm an evil person, right? He says we have to explain that the truth is what if a person is actually an evil person? How do Chachamim tell us, don't look at yourself as an evil person? What if the person is an evil person? Right? Mm-hmm. He says like this. Don't look at your situation that you're in right now. Look in the future. That Be'ezrat Hashem, in the future, you will be a tzaddik. You will grow. You will go out of this. And this image always has to be before him. Not an image of a wicked person. That's what a person has to have in mind. Many people, because they have this weakness in their mind, and they think about their sins that they committed. So what happens? Slowly over time, because they don't want to fall into despair, but they work in the wrong direction. What do? They say, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. Right? because they can't. They have a hard time recognizing that, that they could, God forbid, did something wrong, right? So they try to sway their mind off of it, off of the bad things that they did, and they say, I didn't do anything. And even better, they justify it. They justify it. No, that wasn't bad. That wasn't a sin. So when they fall in that mode, whoa, it's going to be very hard to bring them back in the right path. It's going to be very hard to bring them in the right path because they justify their actions. They're never going to listen to you because they say, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything bad. I was actually right for what I did. Then they're going to fall into the category of Shlomo HaMelech says, Al tochach letz pen yisnaeka. Do not rebuke a letz. That's a person that won't accept your rebuke. And he's going to hate you. But a person who doesn't despair, understands that when someone comes and shows him that he did something wrong, he's trying to help him, and he gets strengthened out of it, he gets encouragement out of it, right? Then for sure, the end of the pasuk of Mishlei is true. You could give tochacha, you could give rebuke to a person who is a chacham, and he will love you. He says at the end of the game, remember, never ever despair, right? This is what we need to do. This is what we need to be very, very, very careful. When you're giving rebuke to someone else, do it in a way that you want to give him chizuk, you want to strengthen him, to awaken inside them, to show them how important they are. That's what we have to do. Not in a way of attacking. You want to give a person musar, you're going to attack him, it's going to bring him even more down. That's not going to accomplish anything. And this is all part of the kavod that we need to work on. Okay? Hazrat Hashem.